How are you, Essendon supporters? We're going to have a little bit of a look at the fixture for the Essendon Football Club, which was released today. The AFL fixture came out. Um, it is my belief. I don't think it really matters too much who you play. I think over the course of 23 matches, it's a big enough sample size that you end up finishing where you deserve to finish, no matter what. And it's often about when you play teams rather than just who you play. I mean, a good example, last year we played Hawthorn in round one. Hawthorn ended up being a fantastic team last year. We played them in the midst of their 0-5 start and we beat them. If we'd played them later in the year in round 19 or 20, we would have lost. So I don't think it really matters, but it is interesting to look at the sequence of games, given that, I will be attending all of them, at least the ones in Melbourne. Just to know, when we're going to be going and what type of matches they're going to be. So the first thing is to look at who we play twice. The teams we're going to be playing twice are the Gold Coast, Geelong, Carlton, the Western Bulldogs, Sydney and Richmond. That will include a trip to Geelong in round 22. We could probably mark that one down as a loss, but who knows? It might be our, worst nightmare, but it could also be our greatest moment. It's also an opportunity, right? There'd be nothing better than beating them down there. Low chance of it happening, but you never know. We play 5 interstate games, away interstate games, 6 overall. One of them is gather round. The 5 interstate games are against Sydney, Brisbane, Fremantle, the West Coast Eagles, Gold Coast, and the 6th one is gather round, which is of course a neutral game against the Demons. So in round 1 we play the Gold Coast. That will be on Saturday. It was actually opening round, not round 1, but you know what I mean. That'll be on Saturday, March the 8th, up there at the Gold Coast. Hopefully we'll get a big Bomber contingent. I've been to a match up there before. It's about an 80% Essendon crowd when we're up there. So hopefully we can make it a bit of a home game for us and get a bit of revenge on them for 2 close wins they knocked us off last year. Round 1, we've got Hawthorn. This should be a good one as well. Now, obviously, it's pointless analysing whether you're going to win or lose when we're talking about matches that are months away from now. But Friday night, to essentially open the season, not quite open the season, the Carlton Richmond games before it, but round 1, the Friday night match to open round 1 is a looks like it's a pretty good blockbuster game there. Round 2, we've got Adelaide at the MCG. I love the idea of 1 or 2 MCG games against these lower drawing opponents. We've played 4 home MCG games now since the year 2000 and 7 at Marvel Stadium. And generally the MCG games are the big blockbuster games that are harder to get a ticket for. I like the idea of these family-friendly time slots. This one is at 1:20 p.m. on a Saturday, early in the season when hopefully the weather's good. Collingwood have had a lot of success playing these early afternoon matches against teams like Adelaide and Port Adelaide at the MCG, getting a huge walk-up crowd. I think this is a good chance for Essendon to get a big walk-up crowd, which we don't normally get a big walk-up crowd these days because all our matches are either at the MCG, they're big blockbuster games where people get a pre-reserved ticket, or they're at Marvel where you often need a pre-reserved ticket as well. So I like the idea of these games at the MCG against teams like Adelaide. I think there should be more of them. Unfortunately, we've only got the 4 home MCG games this year. The club was asking for 5 and they didn't get it. This is the first of 4, so it's unfortunate that we didn't get that 5th game. I'm a big fan of playing more games at the MCG. But anyway, I like the idea of these matches at the MCG against these lower drawing interstate teams. Round 3, we've got Port Adelaide at Marvel. We didn't play Port Adelaide last year down here. Round 4, we've got a bye, which should help us going into round 4. We've got a bye, which should help us going into round 5, where we have the Demons in gather round. Personally, not a huge fan of gather round. I probably can make another video about that at some point, but that's just my opinion. But anyway, we played Melbourne 2 years ago in gather round. And I'm not really sure about the fixturing of this, because this is the second time in 3 years where we can't watch a match in Melbourne versus the Demons. It would be different if we played Melbourne twice, where we had another chance to watch them. But this is the second time in 3 years where we've played Melbourne just once during the year, and that one time was in Adelaide. It seems like an odd fixturing choice to play against the same opponent again. There is a bit of motivation against Melbourne though, because we will be death riding them a bit this year, because if we beat them and lots of other teams beat them and they have a poor year, we're going to get their first draft pick. So we're hoping that pick is as low as possible. Round 6 is away against the West Coast Eagles. Round 7, we've got Anzac Day on a Friday at 3:20. But obviously we knew that fixture was going to come up. Round 8, we've got a Thursday night game against the Kangaroos. This is a home game for us. That should be... they're always actually pretty good matches, even though we've beaten them a lot in recent years. Round 9, we've got the Sydney Swans at Marvel Stadium on a Saturday twilight game. Round 10, we've got the Western Bulldogs. It's an away game at Marvel, and I believe it's our only away game at Marvel for the year. And that is on a Saturday night. Round 11, we've got Richmond on a Friday night. This is the Dreamtime game, which has been moved from Saturday to Friday. I did read on Twitter, and there was a bit of a kerfuffle and a bit of controversy about moving this game. I don't see the big deal. It's essentially being moved from one prime time slot to another more popular prime time slot. I don't see the big deal with this. There was some talk about some people who live out in the country not being able to get to the game, but you could say that about any game that's played on a Friday night. But anyway, that game is going to be played on a Friday night instead of the Saturday. Round 12, probably our toughest match of the year, at least on paper. We've got Brisbane at the Gabba, and that will be on a Thursday. And that might be something... The fact that this is on a Thursday might have some... that might be the reasoning why the previous match against Richmond was on a Friday, because if the match against Richmond was on a Saturday, playing on a Thursday against Brisbane would only mean a 5-day break. So I think we'd all probably prefer a 6-day break against Brisbane. It's hard enough playing Brisbane as it is, let alone an away game on a 5-day break. So I think the 6-day break against Brisbane is better than a 5-day break. I think we'd all agree with that. Round 13, we've got for the third year in a row, Carlton on the Sunday night prior to the King's birthday Monday public holiday. That's been a very successful match the last 2 years, getting over 85,000 on both occasions. And it looks like this is going to be a permanent slot forever now. Round 14, we've got Geelong at the MCG, one of our 4 MCG home games. That'll be played at 4:15 on a Saturday in round 14. Hopefully we can finally beat this team, but I'm never confident against them. Round 15, we've got the Fremantle Dockers away in Perth on a Thursday. That'll be at 6:10 Perth time, but at 8 o'clock in Victoria for television purposes. Round 16, we've got a bye. Round 17, and from this point on, the fixture is set in terms of who you play, but the times and dates have not been set. Round 17, we're at home against the Gold Coast. Round 18, we have an away game at the MCG against Richmond. Round 19, we're at home to the GWS Giants, the only time we play them for the year at Marvel Stadium, so we don't have to travel up there to play them. Round 20, we play the Western Bulldogs in a home game for us, second meeting for the year. Round 21, we're away to the Sydney Swans. Round 22, we're away to Geelong. So we've got a couple of tough games in a row there, away to Sydney and away to Geelong. In the penultimate round, we are at home to St Kilda at Marvel Stadium. And in the final round, we play Carlton So that is Essendon's fixture for the 2025 season. All up, we play 8 games at the MCG. We play 8 games at Marvel Stadium. We play 5 travel games, and in addition to that, we play Gather Round, and that is the 23 games for the year. We'll see how it goes. On paper, it looks kind of difficult, but like I said, I don't think it really matters. I think it's about how you play, not who you play. Tell me what you think. Hopefully, we've got a promising season coming up ahead.